Hey guys, BJ the Brave here, back with some more Shadowverse Worlds Beyond content. Absolutely loving this game so far, and thank you to everybody for all the support on the channel. Been really loving all the interactions, and yeah, really grateful for all the love. Guys, today I am bringing you 13 tips for getting started with the game. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I think it's really easy when you first start to get kind of overwhelmed. There's so much going on, and also it's really easy to make a lot of mistakes too. So I kind of had this video in mind when I very first opened the client, and yeah, I just wanted to bring you 13 things that you should consider really before you get too stuck in to the game. So with that said, let's dive on in. Okay, so my first tip, and I swear to God, bear with me on this one, guys. But my first tip is to have fun, okay? And the reason why I'm saying that as number one tip is because when I talk about the next 12 things, if it doesn't work for you and you think, actually, this is feeling like a bit of a grind, or I'd rather do it in a different order, that's fine. And that's why I think having fun has to be the number one tip. And if you're finding something really frustrating, just don't do it. Go where your energy's at, basically, and follow that. That said, I am going to give you 12 tips that I do think can really help you make a great start. So the first thing I actually wanted to share with you is a bit of a technical thing. A lot of people who played the original Shadowverse, if you go back and read a lot of reviews, a lot of people stopped playing because they found the game like too flashy, and the animations and the graphics, and it really put them off, or it gave them headaches and things like that. And actually, if you click on here and go down to settings, you can actually, on the sound display tab over here, if you scroll down, there's actually quite a lot of settings that you can play with on the graphics. So, for example, you can turn motion blur off, which I've done because it does make me quite dizzy, actually. You can also affect how high you want the graphics, but you can also change like quite a few different things, like you can turn off certain transitions on the cards. So I'm not going to go through them all. Lighting, there's lighting options and stuff. So you can actually really modify it. I think it is something that Side Games got feedback on. So if you are struggling with that and you do get headaches playing it, or you just find it a little bit too in your face, then you can actually alter it this time in the game. Next tip is definitely you want to link your Side Games ID account to the game. Why do you want to do that? Couple of reasons. The first thing is you cut out the middleman. You can actually go on to Side Games and purchase things directly from their website, and they'll have the best value deals on there. And the reason for that is they're not having to pay Google, or they're not having to pay a middleman in order to get the product to you. So it's good for Side Games, and it's good for you. Now, I know a lot of people have had some issues with linking their Side Games account, mainly because the verification email doesn't come through. Trust me, I was really frustrated with this too. I was completely tearing my hair out. That's why I'm bald. How do you do it? I realized I was actually doing it slightly wrong. If you click on the menu here and click Add Menus, you can actually link your Side Games ID account here and click Sign In with ID Games. And basically what I found was then to just auto synchronize it with my Google account, I use Chrome and Google user, and there's various other options. And by doing that way, I actually skipped having to get the verification email. However, I can tell you that my verification email did actually come through, but it came through about an hour later. And I do think Side Games have put something out saying that they're having some problems and there is some delay. So if you are pulling your hair out like I did, then save yourself the stress. It will work. It will just take a long time, or you can use the alternative method that I just shared. All right, the next tip for making a really great start is definitely get an invite code, because if you basically accept someone else's invite code, you basically get rupees, right? And as you progress, they'll get rupees and you'll get rupees. And then also you can generate your own invite code, and you can send that on to friends by clicking invite friends down here. And here you go, you can get an invite code. There's mine. If you want to use that code, for example, then you will get extra rupees, and I'll get them as you progress as well. So we create this big kind of like knock-on effect. It's just extra value for us, essentially. Okay, tip number 5. I actually took me a little while to realize, but you've kind of got this icon down here on the right, which looks like a gift wrapped present. And if you click on this, you can see at the minute I don't actually have any, but if I click log, there's a whole range of things that I collected prizes for. And a lot of the things that you've probably done on pre-registering or things you do out of game, and also as you're completing missions, you'll often unlock things down here, and I missed this for quite a while, so make sure you are actually coming here and checking this regularly. It's the crate, so you want to check the crate basically to make sure you are actually getting all your freebies. Alright, number 6. Now I really wasn't sure about sharing this one because I was kind of embarrassed about it, but I'm going to do anyway because that's kind of what happens when you're a new player and you dive it in and you're overwhelmed. And that was, I didn't know how to open my free packs. So I was going all over the shop trying to find it. I knew I got 10 for the pre-registration and for all these other things that we did leading up to the game. And what you basically have to do is when you go to the shop and you go to buy card packs, it starts you on this one up here, but actually you want to come down to Legends Rise, and as you can see down here now, you can purchase packs for rupees, you can purchase packs for crystals, but it's actually this green one here. Now it seems so obvious now I'm looking at it and sharing it with you guys, but you can see at the top that it says I've actually got 4, and I just didn't figure this out for so long, and I couldn't. And it says here I've got 4 held, so I can just click max and go to 4, or I could open one at a time. Let's just do that quickly now. We click buy, and yeah, that's how we open free packs. Sounds like such an obvious one, but again, when you're overwhelmed by all the menus, I was that dummy who was just going around in circles trying to figure out where my free packs were. Ooh, premium. Love how quickly you can open the packs. So I basically just start selecting on the left and just shimmying the mouse right. And it just opens them all real quick. Ooh, we got a legendary and a premium. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Number 7, focus on the first Farah missions. They will show up when you first log into the game up here on the top left. And I will actually show you, this has been replaced with events now because I've completed them, but it will actually show you 9 different missions that you need to achieve. By doing those missions, it will teach you the tutorials of the game. You'll get to play every single class. It will teach you the mechanics, and the different gameplay mechanics and archetypes are fantastic in this game. I think it's so well designed, and I think anyone who skips those missions is really missing out. Not to mention, you unlock a ton of rupees and goodies from doing that. And once you complete all 9, that's when you actually get your free starter pack. So you can make a choice from, I've got a separate video, so go and check out my video on which deck, but basically what that does is it gives you a load of pre-made starter packs, and you can choose the class that's for you. If you want to jump in with Dragoncraft or Swordcraft, that starter pack will give you a legendary card, it will give you 3 gold cards, and it'll give you, I think it's 18 silver cards as well, so it'll give you a really good boost to your collection for your chosen faction. So again, to get that, you have to complete the 9 first Farah missions, so definitely start there. Tip number 8, you can auto liquefy your card. So what's going to happen is I've actually saved mine to show you here. So I've opened a ton of packs. So if I go to cards now, for example, and I go to either decks or cards, it doesn't really matter, I think, whichever way I want to do it. What you can actually do is here it says liquefy, and I can click liquefy cards, and you can actually auto liquefy extras. So rather than having to go through all the menus and check which ones have you got more than 3 on and individually click them, you can do that if you want, but you can just click auto liquefy here, and as you can see, it says that 3 copies of each card will be kept and all extras will be liquefied, so you're never going to lose a card in that sense. Okay, favorited, basic, premium and fully animated cards are excluded. So essentially, if you have a legendary, you'll get 1200 vials for that. Now, just for context, it costs you 3,500 vials to craft a legendary. If you're sitting there wondering, but BJ, what do I want vials for? Well, they actually allow you to just craft cards directly. So if you've got a specific card or a specific deck, maybe you want to do Dragoncraft and you really want 3 Gaius, but you've only got 2, well, you could use your vials to just simply craft the 3rd one. So just a bit of context there, it costs 3,500 to craft the legendary, it's 1,200 to actually liquefy one, okay? So obviously not as much value when you liquefy them, but they are extra cards. So you can see here, it's basically saying that I've got 1 legendary, 14 gold, 268 silvers and 514 bronze, and it says you'll receive a total of 14,500 vials. but I'm already holding 4,100, so it'll take me up to 18,600. So with one click, I can basically click this. I'm going to do it now, and it's just loading, and there we go. I've now got, you can see in the top right, I've now got 18,600. Now, tip 9 is go and play the story mode. Now, I've basically played the prologue because the prologue is a part of the first Farah missions that we talked about, right? So if you want to get that free starter set, you're going to have to play the prologue. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler. I'm not going to say anything about the story, but you don't play any games in the prologue. You just watch it. Okay, so it's all taking in background about the actual characters and about the lore of the game. Once you complete the prologue, then you open chapter 1, and it will obviously tree and branch out from there. But by actually going through the story, you really get a sense for like who these characters are, what this world's about, what is Worlds Beyond, as opposed to the OG Shadowverse, and you can also unlock things in there as well. So definitely take some time to play story. Tip number 10, don't ignore the park. Okay, when you click on the park down here, you can actually go into let's for example go into the lobby, and you can see that there are a ton of missions and quests, and actually there's one free pack that you can just come in here and get very easily every single day, I believe. And just for playing a battle at the battle table in the park, you actually get a free pack, and you don't even have to win the battle, you just have to play a battle. So you can come in here and you can basically press F3, and you can kind of see all the different quests that you've got, and you can see up here like you've got this thing called bingo missions, and that they give you keys and points. Keys allow you to unlock chests in the park, and those chests often contain legendary and gold cards. So this is really good. Like, definitely do not ignore the park, and it's somewhere that you should at the very least come and check in every single day. By the way, you can play ladder through the park, you can play against your friends in the park. There's so much you can do in there. It's definitely really cool, and do not ignore the park whatever you do. Now, tip 11, I would say, is to invite your friends. You can actually see in here, I can actually you can click on friends, and you can see, okay, you know, I've only just started doing this, so literally a couple of hours ago I figured this out. So I've invited a couple of friends, and you can see they're there on my friends list, and we can kind of create groups, and we can do guilds and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so you can basically do that. Now, if you want to search for users, you will need a search user ID. So let me just show you pretty much the easiest way to do that. What you can do is click up here and just go to your profile. And from your profile, you'll see in the bottom left, it says user ID, and it says click to show. And basically, if you click on this little copy button there, it will copy the ID, and now you can go ahead and paste that and give it to friends, and they can kind of use that in the search that I just showed you to basically find you. One quick additional tip is to just make sure you check your settings, and if you go on to other and you just scroll down, just make sure that it says allow friend requests and allow guild invitations. Just make sure that those are ticked on the side menu there. Now, tip number 12, if you have got some resources and you're thinking, what should I spend it on? I would definitely recommend checking out the battle pass. And the reason for I say that is because obviously it's not going to just be like instant value. It's just going to give you instantly like, here's 10 packs of cards to go and open. But actually, if you're going to play the game and you really want to build your collection, then what you are getting is probably the best sort of value and return on investment by doing it this way. So the battle pass doesn't cost a fortune, and it is something that just through your daily playing you can unlock you know, more resources. I mean, just look at this just as an example. You know, on number 6, normal pass you get 100 rupees. On the premium you're going to get 350. Number 7, instead of getting 70 vials, you get 250 vials. So you are just going to accelerate your resources in a kind of exponential way the more you play. So I would definitely say that for a very small amount of money you can actually, or resources that you might get in other means, you can actually invest in the battle pass, and I do think it is worthwhile doing. So tip 13 is really about, I'm actually calling this play bad cards, but really what this is about is when you first start out, especially if you're free to play, we haven't all got the best cards, obviously, on day one of starting the game. And I think that what people can do sometimes is they can build decks where they go, well, I haven't got this great card that I want, so what I'm going to do is just put a good card in, but maybe instead of that great 8 drop, I'm going to put this good 3 drop in. But the problem with that is you've still got to think about the core kind of infrastructure of a deck, right? In a game like Shadowverse, you do need to have a good smooth mana curve. You need to think about what your win condition is. So for example, if we jump into, let's just find a deck here. Let's just take like a Havencraft deck, for example. Now, in the Havencraft deck, you might be like looking at the end game and you might be thinking, oh, I really want to have, you know, Rodeo, for example, as a win con, or maybe you want to have what's her name, Xian, right? Maybe you really want Xian, but you don't have any Xians. Now, obviously, when you unlock that card, you are actually going to want to put Xian into the deck. But I think what you've got to do is you still need to think about, right, what have I got in that kind of 8 cost slot that could help me do what Xian does? And what I mean by that is it helps you win the game, it helps you dominate the board, it helps you take over. So for example, we have instead we have things like the didn't mean to do that. Things like the Sacred Griffin. Now the Sacred Griffin is a ward, and it says whenever you engage an amulet, give this follower Storm. So, you know, even though this card is like not great, what it is going to do is it is going to potentially be a 9, if not more, depending on the amulet, but it's going to have like a 9 power Storm unit. So it is a big bomb that comes down at the end of the game and wins you the game. So you've really got to think in the early game, when you're in the early part of your collection, to make sure you've still got a really good curve, because actually that's more important. That's going to get you more wins, that you've got a reasonable win condition, even if it's not like your preferred win con because you don't have the card yet. You need to kind of replace it with something that is going to do a sort of similar effect. You know, it's going to have a similar impact. It's going to close out the game. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. Thanks for all the support. Hit that thumbs up down below, and if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments, and definitely check this video out next.